Like, I know I've complained about Hojlund a lot, and like I didn't think that we should go into this season with just Hojlund as our striker. Definitely, I didn't think so. But it's like right now, what happens with Hojlund? Are we just going to like turn him off, or we just going to like let him go? Yo, you guys, what is good, man? Welcome back to Real United Talk, where we talk about all matters Real Madrid and Man United. This is going to be a United Matters episode, and today I'm going to be talking about our striker situation. I know that this is becoming an old topic, but Man United have been linked to the striker all transfer window, and we haven't been able to get one. But now it looks as if things are becoming more clear. It looks as if we know, or at least it's building up to see who is going to be our next striker, and that player is Benjamin Sesko. I've already kind of shared my doubts about us signing Sesko. You know what I think about him, what I think about like his profile, if I think he's the right player for United, because like I said, like I don't know if United should be going for like a project. I don't know if United should be going for like a 22-year-old that still has a lot to develop in his game. I think that we should go for that older age of striker. Watkins was my perfect signing, like, you know, in terms of profile and everything, but the problem was just his age, and it seems as if like that's a big factor. And given also what Aston Villa kind of want to charge people, I think that they're quoting like 65 plus for Watkins, which is a lot of money spent on a 30-year-old. That's about what we spent on Casemiro, and as much as like, you know, he has been a decent signing, like would have rather spend that money on something else. I feel like, you know, we're taking that caution. We don't want to be spending that much money on a 30-year-old, which is fair. But in terms of profile of player, Watkins was my perfect pick. And, you know, I think that Watkins has a lot to like teach, kind of thing. Like, I think he has a lot to teach, like a player like Hojlund, for example. He has a lot to teach a player like Zexi as well. Like, you know, he's already 30, he's experienced in the Premier League. He has done this thing for time in the Premier League, up to 5 seasons. That's not easy, and he has been like consistently dropping numbers, constantly being one of the top players for Aston Villa in the Premier League. So Watkins was my top pick, but like, you know, the age just seems to be the limiting factor in that deal, which makes sense. Like, I get that, but like was rumored to be between like Watkins and Sesko, and it looks as if Sesko is kind of like winning that battle. There was obviously the thing with like Man United and Newcastle being interested in Sesko based on Isaac is about to leave Newcastle. At least he wants to leave Newcastle, but like now it looks as if Newcastle have accepted that, like, you know, Sesko will probably join Man United, and now they're being linked to Watkins, which kind of makes it seem like, you know, Sesko is going to join Man United. I know there was a lot of blab and everything, but like the summary of it looks as if like the Sesko has chosen Man United, and Man United have like chosen Sesko, which, like I said, like I have my doubts about. Like, you know, obviously, like the thing about it, that at the end of the day, like, you know, a striker is a striker, and we're signing somebody, and Sesko is a good player. Like Sesko is a good player. I've seen him play for his national team and everything. Sesko is actually a good player. I just have my doubts about him. You know, there's also the Bundesliga tax. There's the I said it before, like I don't know, there's something about Sesko that like I don't love. I don't know what it is, but there's something about Sesko I don't love. Like I already talked about, like, you know, the Bozo gene and everything, and like I know that doesn't really make sense, and that doesn't justify not signing a player, but like I don't know, it's just something about him that I don't love. But like the thing about it is that like I back Amorim. Amorim hasn't really missed in terms of signings and everything. He hasn't really like missed. So like, you know, if he's looking at this player and like actually like said, yeah, that's my guy, bring him here, then like, you know, I'll back it. But like I'm actually now wondering, like, is that Amorim's guy, or is that just the only guy available right now? Like, that's honestly the question that we need to ask, because like I said, like Watkins is kind of old and everything. They might not want to spend all that money on Watkins. So Sesko now being like one of the available options, like, is that really Amorim's guy, or is that just the only guy available? Is Man United just desperate for a striker right now that they'll go and sign one of the available options? Don't get me wrong, Sesko is not a bad option in the transfer window right now. You know, he's young, he's up and coming and everything, but is that more Man United need right now? I also watched an AG analysis video. Shout out to that guy. That guy is like, I love that guy's videos. Like every time I watch an AG analysis video, a Statman Day video, like I feel like I just went to like footballing school, like, you know, in terms of tactics and everything. And he actually pointed something out, and something that like I've kind of had in the back of my mind, but I never like said it. Like, I don't think that Sesko is as hungry for goals as we might need him to be. Like, you know, we're about to replace his striker, potentially like Hojlund, that like, you know, as much as like I think that Hojlund was hungry for goals, but he just wasn't getting them. You know, there's a lot of factors. I'm going to talk about Hojlund in a bit, but like there's a lot of factors as to why Hojlund wasn't scoring the amount of goals that we're scoring. And, you know, I've dealt with like the strikers in the past that were not that hungry for goals, and we complained about, like, you know, your Martial, who didn't get in the box enough, who was always more was always more interested in like, you know, the build-up play and everything than actually scoring like the final goal. Sexy as well. That's the type of player that he is. Like, you know, he's more interested in being involved in like the build-up play than scoring the final goal and everything. And Sesko, I think is more interested in like, you know, Zexi, the player like Zexi scoring a goal. Like, you know, he's very interested in scoring a goal. Like, you know, he has that like area ability, like he's dangerous in the box and everything. Sesko is a good player to have if you want to score goals, but like I don't know if he's as interested in scoring goals as like we might need him to be. I don't like that's something that can change, you know, that's something that can like develop with like time, age, mentality, just different thing, factors like the manager. That's so many things can make that change. Maybe it's the way that Leipzig play. I don't watch Bundesliga enough to like, you know, fully analyze him and everything. Maybe it's the way that Leipzig play. But like I don't know if Sesko is that player that is like, you know, as hungry for goals as we need him to be. Like, and this is not just coming from his goal numbers. Like, you know, like I said, I watched an age analysis video. He pointed out some things like, you know, like shots, just stuff like that. Like, and I don't know if like he's actually like that hungry for goals. Like at the same time, like, you know, we don't need somebody that like, you know, we don't need the Haaland. Like we don't need someone that is like all in it for the goals, as in like F the build up play, F everything, like, you know, he's just in it for the goals. We don't need a player like that. We need a player that like, you know, can kind of like rotate around, you know, with like the calms, kind of like just be involved in the general play. And when it's time to score the final goal, he scored the final goal. Like I said, Chesko is like very good in the box and everything. Like, you know, he has that big leap. Like, he has like a big leap. The guy is strong. He uses his body well. He can head the ball. You know, he's good. The guy is a good shot striker. Like, you know, like he's a good ball striker. Like, I've seen some of his goals and everything. Like, you know, the guy is actually very good at scoring like those bangers, and having like our front three being able to like score like bangers out of nothing would be amazing. I used to have Bruno in the squad as well. You also have Amadu can do it from anywhere. Like, we just have a few bit of players that can score goals from like any situation, which is like amazing to have. But like Sesko might not be as hungry for goals as we might need him to be, but like that can be something that can develop and everything. I didn't watch Gyökeres before, but like I don't know if Gyökeres was always that guy, you know, and look at Gyökeres now, kind of thing. So like, you know, that can something that can like develop with time and everything. But about the age, like, you know, I already said it in a previous video. I already said that like I'm not sure that we should be going for like, you know, these projects basically. Like I don't know if we need a project right now, like, you know, given the given the problem that we're dealing with right now. Do we want another one? Because Sesko and Hojlund are the same age. I know that Sesko is obviously like ahead in the development. Like, you know, when we signed Hojlund was like what, 19, 20. You know, he was like half a season in and everything in his development. Sesko is like what, 3 seasons in. He has already played in the Euros and he's a big player for his country already. I know that Hojlund is kind of big for his country and he has played in some of these competitions as well, but like Sesko is like further in development than he is. So like, you know, he's not exactly the same as signing Hojlund, but like right now they're the same age. And I just don't know if Sesko is that player that we need in terms of like that profile, in terms of that age and everything. I don't know if it's like that player that we need, but that can change. Like, you know, like I said, like it's all about the development. It's about how Amorim uses him. It's all about like what they teach him and everything. But like I just don't know. Like I just have my like reservations about this signing a bit. Like I know it seems like I'm being harsh. You know, we haven't even signed him already. It seems like I'm already being harsh. But me personally, I think I have a few reservations. I don't know how good he would be. Like I don't want the player that's going to come and work like, oh, you know, we need to give him time to like adapt. We need to give him time to like, you know, score goals, and like we just need to give him time in general. Like we don't need that right now. Like, you know, signing your Cunha and Bremo was perfect because as much as less, like, you know, it might take some time and everything to get everything working. We know what to expect from these players. We know what to expect from Cunha. We know what to expect from Bremo. Like we already know the type of players that they are. Like there's no, oh, you know, give them time to become like the full version of themselves. Like we know like they're about to enter that prime. Cunha is 26, Bremo is 25. I think it's turning 26 this year or next year. I don't know. But like, you know, like these guys, we already know the type of players that they are. We know what to expect from them. Now we're signing a striker who I've already shared some reservations about him. Like I've already talked about, like, you know, how hungry he is for goals. Is that something we're going to have to wait for? We're going to have to wait 2 years before he comes like fully hungry for goals that like we need him to be and everything. Like is a whole thing. And like I said, I don't want to talk too down on it and everything. We haven't seen him play for United yet and everything. So like, you know, Amorim wants him and I back it regardless. Like, you know, like I said, Amorim hasn't really like missed in the transfer window so far. Like he hasn't really like, I think his signings have been good, and you know, I'll have to back it. But yeah, I just have my reservations. But not talking about that, the question now is like, what happens to Hojlund? What happens to Rasmus Hojlund? And Hojlund, if you guys are watching the friendly games, you're seeing how Hojlund is playing. Hojlund is playing some good football. Hojlund playing some great football actually, like especially compared to how he was playing last season. Compared to last season, anything is a win, honestly. Like anything like bro, even if the guy like I don't even get it, bro. Anything is a win, man. Anything is a win, honestly. But right now, like, it's not just about even just like winning a bit. Like, he's actually playing like really well. Actually, like he has been working on himself like throughout the summer. It looks as if like he's kind of like growing into it. Like, what kind of seeing the type of player that like he wants to be and everything. Obviously, there were a lot of factors as to why it didn't work, especially last season. In general, like the whole team was not working. So like if the whole team is not working, how is your striker supposed to work? Like like where are the chances coming from? There's just a lot of things. There's a lot of reasons why like Hojlund did not work and Hojlund was not working. And one of the major things for me, and I'll keep on saying that, I think I've said it before and I'll say it again, throwing Hojlund into the fire was not the right thing to do. Throwing Hojlund straight into the fire at such a young age was not the right thing to do. And if that wasn't justification enough, like Hojlund himself has said it, Hojlund himself has said that like that basically did him no favors and everything. Hojlund basically said that he could have done with some help. And I'm not going to read everything like word for word, obviously, but like he basically said that when he came, that Martial was like injured and everything, like so like he had to take a lot of the game time. And as much as like he loved playing and everything, like he could have like you could have done with like a break, like you could have done with like somebody else kind of like taking that like responsibility and everything, because he was still so young. Like as much as every young player wants to play every single game, like there's an amount of like there has to be an amount of like understanding and an amount of like just sense, like to just know that as much as yes I want to be playing every game and everything, like at the same time, like I'm just not ready. Like there has to be this amount of like awareness, and it looks as if like Hoyland has that awareness that like like yes, this is exciting and everything, but should I be playing every game? Like am I even ready for this? Like look at the way Hoyland has struggled. Like Hoyland, like I'll see this, like Hoyland is getting worst signing in Premier League history shouts. Like he's getting those shouts. Hoyland, a 22-year-old should not be getting those shouts. A 22-year-old that was signed when he was 20-year-old should not be getting those shouts. We cannot be saying that Hoyland is one of the worst players in Premier League history, one of the worst signings in Premier League. You can't be saying that at 20 years old. Like who gets judged at 22 years old? Come on, who gets judged at 20? He was 20 when we started judging him. He was 20. Who gets judged at 20? At 20, we don't even know what a player is at 20. Like, yes, like obviously, like you have your exceptions, you have your Mbappes, you have your Lamines, you have your Rooney's, you have your exceptions, obviously. But it's like we cannot just because you have your exceptions to the rule doesn't mean that like a lot of players like they come into their own when they're like 25 at least. Like a lot of these players, you see a lot of these young guns, a lot of people that get promoted from the academy and everything at like 18 and like they like just bust onto the scene. Like you see them like kind of like get burnt out, and like we don't get to see them realize themselves again until like they're like 25, 26 or something like that, for like 3-4 seasons after like that first 2 seasons or something. Like it almost gets to that point that we see it happen. And it just seems as if like Hojlund has been judged too soon. It just seems as if he has been deemed like a bad sign and a bad player too soon, in my opinion. Like I know I've complained about Hojlund a lot, and like I didn't think that we should go into this season with just Hojlund as our striker. Definitely, I didn't think so. But it's like right now, what happens with Hojlund? Are we just going to like turn him off, or we just going to like let him go? I know that obviously like we start letting players go. I cannot be sentimental about players and everything. I'm not sentimental about Hojlund. Like I have no affiliation with Hojlund. Like if Hojlund leaves, like I'm not going to be like cheesed or anything, but I just feel like he's going to be a player that was done wrong too early. Like I feel like we judged him too soon. I think that Hojlund was done wrong at Man United, honestly, and I think that Hojlund, it seems that he goes to that he's willing to give him like that extra season to just like season and everything. And now he's already 20. He's already been through like a Premier League experience and everything. And Premier League experience is a big thing going into other leagues. So like even if it goes to like Syria, Bundesliga, yeah, season for like 2 seasons now. So like he kind of like he's kind of getting ready. Like I said, we're already seeing him like be this like physical player that can run around the pitch and everything, like just like a whole thing. Like we're seeing him ball out. Saw the goal that he scored against Bournemouth. That was a very, very, very good goal. And people might think, oh, the Bournemouth defense was just sleeping, but if you watch again, if you see Hoyland's movement for that goal, you see that was a striker's goal. Like that was a proper striker's finish. Like you see the way that like he kind of like dummied the defender and then just got free into space and everything. That's proper movement. You need proper movement for that type of goal. Most tapping goals, most goals that you see that you're like, oh, defending was sloppy or that was so easy. Like, you need to see the build up around the goal to now see why that goal was so easy, why the defender was actually sleeping. Just can watch that goal again and you see what I'm talking about. But like, yeah, that was like proper movement. That was like something he has probably practiced and everything. So it's like Hojlund is actually developing into his zone, and now we're just going to like pawn him off and everything. And also, like, if you sign Sesko, is Zexi going to be an immediate option after Sesko? Like, is Zexi going to be our second striker and everything? Because like, I'd back Zexi and everything, but going into the season, I was actually thinking about him more like a calm than a striker, like, the occasional strike and everything. But I was thinking about him more like a calm. But I guess that, like, you can put him in strike and have that like rotational thing going on where like sometimes Cunha takes the strike, sometimes Mbeumo takes the strike, and sometimes Zexi is in the strike. Obviously, there's the whole thing with Bruno as well. And like, I just feel like letting Hojlund go like asks a lot of questions. It asks a lot of questions to that front line, like, because now, okay, Sesko will be our main striker, and like Zex is going to be our second striker and everything. But I just feel like, should we let Hojlund just go and everything? Should we let him go on loan? I feel like maybe a loan might be the better option, given the type of player that, like, he can become. A loan can be the better option. And we don't know about Sesko, like I said, like, we don't know the type of player that he's going to be for us. We don't know if he's going to do or if he's going to flop and everything. Like I said, we shouldn't be judging him too early. He's still 22, but at the same time, like, like, we need something now. So it's like, I don't know if we should like just like sell Hojlund full on, like 40 million sell Hojlund or something. I don't know if we should do that. So it's like, what happens with Hojlund after he leaves United, or if he leaves United, what happens? Or if Sesko comes, what happens? Are they going to be our two strikers up front? If they are, then what's going to happen with Zexi? Is Zexi going to be like under calm? If that happens, what happens with Mount? If that happens, what happens with Bruno? Like, there's just a lot of questions that need answering in this situation. Obviously, it's good to have like good strong depth and good to have this type of questions, but at the same time, like, we need to be smart. We do need to have some outgoings at the end of the day, so we need to be smart and we can't be sentimental. But like, yeah, I think that Hojlund has been done wrong at Man United. I think that Sesko is a good player. I don't know if he's the right player for Man United, but I think that he's a good player, and I back Amorim's decision to sign him. And yeah, honestly, I'll just have to see what happens, honestly, because like, I can just like theorize all I want and everything, but then we just have to see what happens when it happens, right? Like, Sesko is not going to get a preseason if he signs for Man United, which is going to be sad to see, because like, this preseason is actually like, it looks to be doing a lot of good for our players. So it would be nice to have at least like a striker, especially that has been like a big position for Man United, having a preseason. It have been very good for that, especially like a young striker. It have been very good. I've seen the amount of good that a preseason can do for a player versus not having a preseason, so that have been very good. But like, the damage is done and everything. So like, we'll just have to see what happens with Sesko. But like, yeah, what do you guys think will happen with Hojlund? What do you guys think that we should do with Hojlund? Do you think that we should just like sell him? Do you think we should loan him? Or do you think he should be within the team even if we sign Sesko? And do you guys also think that Sesko will be a good signing? Let me know in the comments. And with that comes the end of the episode. Thank you guys again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I'm going to try and stay consistent, keep on pushing out episodes, and I just hope to see you guys again next time. Safe.